Okay, let's get into our sermon. We're going to talk about surrender and trust in the highest realm. I am not someone who easily surrenders, so this is a really fun and exciting topic for me because I come from a place in space where when I will something to happen, it happens, and that is true when you're in a very high reality, because when you're in a high reality, let's say you're an alien and you're in a vibration that's very high, or you are just someone who's on earth and you've learned how to raise your vibration up very high, that high vibration is in alignment with the divine. So when you're in alignment with the divine, you can manifest things very rapidly. Unfortunately, on earth, we're living in a very dense reality. So even if your vibration is very high, manifestation sometimes can take a little while. We are now living in a different reality. 2020 is a completely different reality. There's a fundamental difference of reality on this planet now than used to be. It used to be a denser, greed-based vibration, and now we are currently in a quantum, they were telling me this in my dreams last night, it's a quantum state of infinite potential that when you tune your energy to, basically, this is what I was learning in my dreams last night, I'm just remembering. When you're in a certain vibration, which Earth is now and which we are now, there's a multitude of paths that can be taken which are divine. When you're in this lower vibration, there are paths that are not divine. There's things that are in discordant reality, where if you choose something, it will actually send you down a sort of like karma spiral where you'll have to be like it's a negative loop. So it goes in the wrong direction. But once you're spiraling up and up and up, it's not just one path. The path to get back on the right direction is a narrow path, and you have to sort of follow your heart very closely. But once you're on that path, then opportunities start opening up for what reality looks like. So as you're going on that upward spiral, then you become tuned into this infinite nature of the universe in which all things are truly divine and are truly aligned for the highest reality. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you all for being on those pronouns. I appreciate that too. So when you are someone who comes from space, or when you're someone who has had past lives where you're in alignment and you come to Earth and things don't instantly manifest, it's because you haven't either A, risen out of the density of Earth, or B, reversed that negative spiral into a positive divine spiral. We're not going to talk necessarily about how to do that today. That's really what all of Unicult teachings are about. But today we're going to talk about the power of surrender and the power of control, and what those two things are and what they mean. When you are a human being, we have limited perspective. We are three-dimensional beings trapped in time, trapped in space, trapped in these bodies, and we also have been cut off from our powers of opening up our third eyes and getting access to the infinite universal knowledge. You have the absolute right to all information, and you can access all information by opening up your third eye and by tuning into it. You can also access all information by opening up your heart and tuning into it. Both the heart and the third eye are vehicles through which you can get information. You probably want to run it by your heart, and you probably want to run it by your third eye. This is your cognition, this is your understanding, this is your higher level like cognitive functioning. And I don't just mean as a human, I mean as a galactic entity. And when you run it by your heart, you're connecting to the pure universal understanding of love. That's the spirit of uni, which is inside each of us as entities of this universe. So when you're aligning your energy and you're getting information, you can gain that information, but unfortunately we are trained out of that ability on this planet, and we are repressed and brainwashed to think that we are powerless and that we are lost, and that the information that's available on Earth is restricted, and that we can only have access to it if we do a certain number of schooling or things like that it has to be read in a book. You can get any information that you want just by meditating. Thank you, Pingu Bingu. There's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. Okay, so when you're trying to control something, you're doing so because you think that you see the biggest picture. You think that you see what's best for your life. If you are working toward a goal in your life and it doesn't work out, oftentimes we feel really bad and we feel like we haven't succeeded because we feel like we're not on our path. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Yeah. I think the trolls are just, they're hurting. They're tired of being oppressed. I don't know. I don't know, man. Thank you all for moderating and for sending love to the trolls. Let's try to stay on track here. Okay, so when you're trying to control something, it's because you think that you see the highest possible outcome. You see, well, I should, when I think a lot of people are, brainwashed by society to be like, when I turn this age, I want to get married, I want to buy a house. We're kind of out of this reality now, but this has been the reality for a while, and I think a lot of people still feel the residual effects of this enforced expectation of like, I'm gonna grow up, I'm gonna get a good job, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna pay off my mortgage, I'm gonna retire. Like this preset life that you're just like handed. It's like a Lego block, and you're like, well, I'm gonna put these all together to make this life that other people respect, that other people understand, that so I can feel validated, so I can feel like I'm part of society. And for some people, no matter what you do, you will not be able to fit in that structure. You might not find a good job. You might not find somebody to marry. You might get divorced. You might have all this chaos happening. And then you take that on and you feel like a failure because you haven't necessarily done the things that you thought you could do. But that's a form of human control. That's not divinity. When you look at the world and you have these preset boxes of what you should do, what you have to do, and you feel like you're a failure if you don't get it done the way that other people get it done, that is not divine. That is control. That is brainwashing. So the way that we can open up our consciousness, the way that we can open up our minds is by trust. And before we are able to use our bodies as sensors to tune into the highest divine frequency to guide our lives, which is what Spencer was talking about, as we're on that journey of learning how to become telepathic, Telepathy Training Program Club can help you with these things. It will, absolutely. As we learn to listen to the subtle energies of our body, as we learn to listen to the true guiding compass of our heart, we learn how to see the biggest picture, to be in alignment, and to manifest things which are actually in alignment with the highest good for ourselves and the world. That might include marriage, that might include a good job, that might include buying a house, but you can't attach to those things from this lower level reality where we actually don't see the bigger picture. Until you are quite literally an angel, until you are in a place where you have gotten your butt kicked by the world and you have learned to surrender to the divine plan, it's very hard to know what is right for your life and what is right for yourself, because we attach to things that we think are correct. I have attached to so many things which were not correct for my life, and when they were taken away from me in divinity, I protested, I cried, I rebelled. I was so angry and upset and hurt. But that was divine. And when you go forward into your future and you look back on the past, you can say, wow, I grew so much through that. I'm so glad I'm not in that situation anymore. I can find gratitude that I went through that because I learned so much and I am a better person, and I see how it brought me to this higher way of thinking now. And you have to go through that so many times before you learn to just say, okay, I guess that the universe knows what's best for me. And you have to just let go of the reins. And that's part of the Chariot card, which I made my robot after. On the Chariot, this person is just standing there. There are no reins. They're being guided by sphinxes, which represent mystery. So you just let the universe carry you along. Does that mean that you just smoke weed all day and lay in bed and don't go to work and don't pay your bills and you just say, the universe is going to figure it out? You could. I don't think that that would be the most comfortable reality. The most amazing reality that you can find is what Spencer hit on earlier, which is the combination and connection of your own will and the divine. And that is where you get alignment. That's where you get the most magical reality. That is where you get true-hearted happiness and joy. That's what Unicult's all about. Thank you, Kaylee Ann. Dedicated to the giant tortoise. $20. Thank you. Okay, Keep America Amazing really wants attention from me, so I'm gonna just talk to them for a second because I really care about every person, and I really care about this person who is called Keeping America Amazing. And I want to just say, if you really think that America should be amazing, you believe in freedom of belief, you believe in freedom of religious practice. That's actually a huge part of American rights, of American understanding. And if you want to see liberty, truth, and happiness, which are all things that Unicult stands for, and you really care about these American values, you will understand the value of Unicult. If you want to see America thriving, that means that we get to have space for every different type of person. That's the true American way. We are a melting pot of many different religions, people, ideas, and communities, and through that flourishing diversity, we become beautiful and amazing, and truth is not relative, but it's in the Constitution. It's in the founding documents that this country was founded on. So each person gets to decide what that is. Okay, I'm not going to give you any more attention. I see that you want attention, and I hope that you find it. I would recommend that no one else respond to this person. And just, if you're here to watch, you can watch. If you want to leave, you can leave. Okay, the difference between control and surrender when it comes to understanding which is which. There is a point in time where if you're on the divine path and you get your desires ripped away from you over and over and over again. You just get pummeled into the ground. You say, well, I think I want to do this. And then you just get it taken away from you. And you're like, am I supposed to keep trying, or am I supposed to let go? Where's the point of participation in this reality? And the answer is that you have to truly align with your heart. Where do you find happiness? Where do you find joy? Where do you find flourishing energy? It's okay to be discouraged, but the key is that the outside, external reality isn't real. If you can focus your energy and you can focus your attention on your internal harmony, if you can take this very extreme approach of cutting out any desire that you have to impress people, to fit in, to belong, to have an effect on society or the outside world, and you can take all of those desires and you can put them back inside your own consciousness, and you can say, I want to do what makes me happy. And there was a dream that I had where an angel came to me and it fucked me up, and that's the title of a YouTube video you can watch if you haven't seen it, where an angel did come to me and told me that none of this reality was real and that this is all a simulation for my own consciousness. That was very scary and very hard for me to hear, but what it did is it turned me into someone who does things purely for my own consciousness, for my own happiness, for my own joy. I am working on becoming famous. Am I doing that for other people? Am I doing that to impress you? Am I doing that for a social acclaim? No, I'm doing it because that's the most fun thing I can think to do in this simulation. To me, that sounds like a blast, no matter if you are real or not. I believe you are real. I believe this world is real. I don't think that that dream was telling me the truth, but I do think that it did something to catapult my thinking into one which is an internal versus an external reality motivation. So you have to let go of the reins, you have to let go of your concrete desires, and you just follow your heart for the general idea of the feeling of what you want. You want to be a millionaire? Do you want $1 million? Or do you want to feel abundant? Do you want to feel like you don't have to worry about money? There is a difference between these two things. You can have $1 million and worry about money. So if you can feel abundant, it does not matter how much money you have in your bank account. That isn't real. Money isn't real. The number isn't real. What's real is your feeling. So when you're focused on this battle, on this journey of rising into a higher way of being a stronger, more enlightened, happier, more thriving, more joyous person, you can tune into your energy. And the difference that we identify in Unicult is taken from the I Am Saint Germain books, is the difference between victory and reward. And these are similar concepts, but they're different, and we have to understand the difference. When we say reward, we mean that we are being rewarded by the external reality. We are being praised by other people. We are getting material goods. We are operating in the third dimensional reality of reward. And those are boxes that we check to either impress other people or feel like we're doing a good job. But that actually has no bearing whatsoever on the truth of our emotional reality, which is victory. When we focus instead on victory rather than reward, and we focus on our harmonization of our energy, when we focus on our enlightened joy, and for us to do every action and every goal to be in alignment with our truest hearts, with our truest joy, so long as it harms no one, including ourselves. Just always throwing that caveat in there. It should be obvious, but we're going to keep doing it. Then we understand that our victory leads us to divinity. And when we are aligned with divinity by focusing on our victory, we can see the future. We can see what we're meant to have, because we've let go of our attachment to specifics. And we've said, instead of saying, I want to be driving this car, you remove that car from the equation and you say, what are the feelings of driving that car that I actually want to have? What does that car do for my internal reality? How do I focus and believe that I deserve the internal reality that driving that car will give me? You deserve these feelings. So we have to realize that when we're looking at our lives, when we're operating from this place of desire is holy. It's beautiful and wonderful to want something. But in order to not feel like you're God's bitch, which is something that I have felt very strongly, I felt like, well, I have no free will. All I can do is either be happy about my life or be sad about my life. Everything I try to do doesn't work, so I have to surrender. So I came up with this phrase, God's bitch. It's very dramatic, and that's just how I felt for a long time. I felt like I didn't have any power in my life except to choose to be happy or to be sad. And what that does is that reverses that negative spiral of attachment, of negative control, of focusing on reward, and you let go and you surrender and you say, fine, whatever the universe wants to do, I'm just going to be happy about it. I'm going to find my gratitude. I'm going to just hold on for dear life. And I'm going to just let go of all my expectations about what I want to have success and what success means to me. And I'm just going to allow it to reverse. And in that surrender, you reverse that negative cycle and you go into the more positive cycle of being aligned with divinity. It is only through that surrender that you can become aligned to divinity, because our control is based in third dimensional, trauma-based, greed-based reality. And we are programmed so deeply in it that no matter how much work you do, you can't reverse it just with thought. You have to reverse it through surrender. And it's through that surrender that we then enter into this positive spiral upward, where we are not attached to specific outcomes, but we are more invested in our internal state and our feeling center of joy, where we can see the future for what it offers us energetically rather than physically, and we become angels. That's all I have. Thank you, Will. $4.99. Can that be a t-shirt? God's bitch. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that phrase because it allowed me to surrender at the same time as sort of being a little bit mad about it. You know? It's like, fine, I'm just God's bitch. And like, it's dramatic, and it allowed me to be dramatic, but it also allowed me to surrender. I would definitely wear that. Me too. I would. Someone else said they were dreaming about me. Really cool, wonderful. I'm so happy. Every day I'm getting people dreaming about me lately, and people saying that Unicult is changing their life. 2020 is really the time. It's happening. It's really happening. I feel like you're trying to put your values on your viewers. Yes, this is a sermon. That's the point of it. Spirit of Uni, we bless all people and all things. I pray that everyone is able to find the surrender in their life and let go of all attachment to expectation of reality, and to focus on their internal state of joy and their internal state of harmony. Always share your dreams with me. Always. These trolls are getting muted and timed out left and right, and they're still coming at us. It's great. When someone is giving us that much attention, we have to just understand that they're here to hear it, and eventually, if they hear enough, they will be converted. That's why we don't kick them out, because if they hear enough, they will be converted. Absolutely, always. That always happens. So we appreciate the troll's existence, and we let them watch. Uni bless. Thank you for joining. We will see you next week.